Hey. I gotta give me some silverware. I'll be right back. I'm almost there. Give me some silverware so I can eat my food while I talk. Because the bitch is hungry. A bitch is hungry for some bills. Oh, praise the Lord. All right, how is everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I discussed Secret Society on Marsha's Play podcast. The episode came out on Thursday, yesterday. Super trash. I don't think anybody should support Secret Society. So, it doesn't have trans people in it. They didn't hire trans people to play the part. So, I thought the theme, the theme was, we're not supporting movies that don't hire trans people to play trans parts. Hi, Brendan. We can talk about it if y'all want to. What didn't you like about it, Aria? Not Aria. Aria, I don't know if it's Aria, but Aria. Of course not. It didn't at all. They were running around calling each other men. I told him I was a man. Just the language and the script was not right. It was not appropriate. The storyline wasn't appropriate. I mean, she brought Amaya Scott in as a consultant, and Amaya said they didn't listen to shit I had to say. Didn't want to make the changes. But fuck, man. God damn. I just spilled my damn butter. My butter sauce on my skirt. Well, not all of it, but addicted. So it's so annoying. She's I feel like she's trying to capitalize on the movement, but she's just not doing it right. You could have hired girls, and it would have been a popular movie. Everybody would have been talking about it in a positive way, sharing it. Crazy. It's a movie. It's a movie, but I'm sorry, y'all. I'm eating because I I went this morning. I had to get a rapid COVID test. Cost me $100 because I'm going out of town, out of the country. Well, yeah, it's out of the country. Yeah. So they have these traveling rules now, and so I had to do a rapid COVID test so that I can get into the country that I'm going to, and that took all my morning. Then my ass thinking, oh, it's early in the day. Let me go see my nail tech because, you know, I might not be able to do it tomorrow. Or and Saturdays are usually super busy for her. So not that Fridays are not busy, but I felt like let me it's early on a Friday. So I'm like, okay, let me get in there fast. Child, I go in there thinking that I can just go, go there, get it done. And then when I leave there, you know, baby, I got to that lady's shop at 2:30. It is I left at 7:30. So 2 to 7. That's a long fucking time. But it was so fucking busy. And it just started getting busy. And it took forever. My nails ain't even know I like them. They're like a gold flake marble. Love them. But this is not a hard design. It didn't need to take that long. It didn't need to take that long. But it did. Ain't no man going that long paying your rent and not no teeth. Facts. You might can get it off once or twice, but honey, come on. And I be telling people it's not about that I don't think tricking be going on. But tricking ain't going on to that capacity. Most girls are scary. Most girls are scary and think they're gonna die. They're gonna get killed because of the narrative of, ooh, if you're tricking, you're gonna get murdered. So most girls are scary. So that cuts down a lot of the attempts. And the ones that are not, most girls aren't really that possible. If I want to keep it real. So they don't even have the tools to do it. And then once you eliminate the girls that are not passable, the girls that are, there's usually about some money. It ain't about, it's usually about trying to make some money, like, on host straw, or, you're trying to get that quick dollar real quick. It ain't just out there. Some of them, not all the time, but some of them ain't out here just doing it for fun. It's usually survival. Sorry. Starving. Hey, Ty. Even if you had trans actors, the story would be too sensitive. You know what? It would be. I felt that too. Totally agree. I felt it would be too sensitive, especially in the climate that we're in now. And but I wouldn't even be mad. Tell the story. I'm just about telling the authentic story. Don't tell some lie. And then don't be running around on your promotional tour. Excuse me. Talking about you did it for to elevate the community, and girl, nothing about this says that you care about community. Hey, Tay. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Did y'all watch the Einstein movie, the Einstein series? This is the movie with Vivica Fox. Yes. Just one little piece of rice. It came out a while ago. I'm just not talking about it. It's old. It came out it's a series that came. It's the Genius series. So Genius just released Aretha, about Aretha Franklin, but that is a series where they feature a genius in their art or in their career. The first one was Einstein, the second one was Picasso, and the third one was Aretha. Did you hear about it, Brandon? About secret society, or is this your first time hearing about it? Mm. All right, so now we can get started, and I can take this beginning part out later on. The last two episodes though, because I was tired. You're right; it had to be written by a woman or or women. Absolutely. Yeah, the last two episodes were kind of like, okay, it's slowing down. I really enjoyed the part about the wives. The last episodes were more about him and the government. Who cares? But that's why I said, I think that the last one that I thought was important was when the second wife died because, when he came to America. So to introduce the conversation. So the series is based on Einstein, of course, and we all know that he is a world-renowned physicist. He made groundbreaking scientific advancements when it comes to theory and basing theory on, some things that are current now that we think are normal are based on his work back in the day or whatever. And he is just kind of on this pedestal as a genius, as a thought leader, an intellectual, and just one of the great minds of our time. So much so that they were trying to preserve his brain to study it and all that kind of stuff. But what we do know is during this time, patriarchy was like strong. This just was a different. This is in the 1800s, was it? Yeah, the late 1800s, early 1900s, and patriarchy and rules for women and what women supposed to do and jobs for women and opportunities for women was quite different. His first wife is one of the first women that were accepted in the school that he was accepted to as a student. Like no woman had broke that glass ceiling at this school except for his wife. And so it was quite interesting the way, particularly in this series, that how they fell in love. And she had like this in the series, she had like this I guess scoliosis, I think so, where her back is scoliosis, where her spine is twisted, and so she had to wear a back brace and different lengths of shoes to help her walk a little bit more normal. So he fell in love with her mind, and they fell in love, and she ended up getting pregnant, and it changed the trajectory of her life. Now he did end up marrying her, but what ends up happening is the gender norms, the expectations of a woman start to be really, really heavy on her. But he had this freedom because even if they make babies, they're not expected to stay home and take care of them. It's the wife that's supposed to do that. But it put her career when it comes to science and, because she was into sciences. That's the reason why she went to this school. She didn't want to get pregnant. She didn't want to fall in love. She didn't want to do any of this. But it happened because life happens. But then once it happens, the world around her starts pressuring her to be this particular wife, particularly, I won't necessarily say him, but he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to even say, "Oh, I need you to stay home and be a wife." That just what was expected, and everybody else did it for him, from his mother to even the school, like kind of dismissing her because she, you know, honey, you got other things to do. You pregnant, you gotta, and you done married this nigga. But in the process of her marrying, in the process of their marriage, she contributed to his work. And so, but at that time, and I don't even want to say at that time, because if you think about in the story, there was a couple that they highlighted before them that had the same kind of issue. The guy who discovered radium in their era, which is even before Einstein and them, older, overlapping but older, they tried to give him the Nobel Peace Prize, not Nobel Peace Prize, I'm sorry, the Nobel Prize for his advancement in science for discovering radium. But he says, if my wife can't be on it, then I don't want the prize. Because my wife did just as much work as I did. And so he didn't get it. Because they were like, we're not putting her on there. So literally, because he wanted his wife to be involved in it. Yeah. Because he wanted his wife to be involved in it, it disqualified him when she helped him do the work. And so to me, he was the example of the upstanding guy who is trying to break the system, and the system just didn't break. He doesn't have the power to break it. And so, but he stood by his wife. But then here comes Einstein, narcissist, not even different, not even, I don't even want to say narcissist, but just really ego, trying to be this great thing. He doesn't fight for his own wife to be on his work that he couldn't have did without her. Like, she literally say, I will help you when you are at work trying to take care of the bills. I'll do the mind thinking work, and then when you come home, you do it too. We work together. Da 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 da. Bring your mama out here. Let your mama help with the baby, and I can help you do this. But even in that scene with the mama, like, what girl you supposed to be doing? I'm not here to do it for you. I'm here to help you and assist you. Bitch, what y'all thought? You supposed to be a wife. Oh, and first of all, she didn't want him to marry her, but since we here already, babies and shit, then let me come teach you how to be a wife. But she didn't know. She wasn't coming to teach her how to be a wife. She was coming to be a babysitter. To take care of the stuff while what was that? Maliva helped him. She came to be an assistant. And so, but instead of him standing by his wife when it was time to give her credit, he didn't do that. He just said, this is my shit. Without even helping her, all that kind of stuff. Maliva, yeah. Without even, and it just, for me, this part of it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating to me because of the pressure of society on his wife. Like, you can just see it. There were some moments where I thought she was being real extra, but not that she wasn't justified to have a response, but I just felt like she was being really extra at some times. Or I was like, oh God, this is so extra. But then he started to be extra. So it was like, child, let's get rid of it. Let's stop playing in this situation. And then he ends up going home to like his hometown or whatever and falling in love with his first cousin. What? But a lot of this was going on back in this time. Cousins marrying cousins, and all that kind of stuff. But even the wife, even the second wife, if you think so, Maleva, her her genius was she was a science ass bitch. She was like, I am just as brilliant as you. And when you look at her stats was just on the same level as him. Like in regards to the tests that they were taking in school, like they're on the same level. So I'm just as in the movie, you fall in love with me because we got this connection that you can't make with other chicks. Because they don't have the mind that I do. And so you fall in love with me. We make this connection. It's all good. Blah, 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 blah. We are comparable. So me helping you in this genius status, to get you to your genius status, to do this work that establishes you as this great physicist, to help you, I help you do this work. Although his second wife was not in the genius level of in this physics shit, she was the social butterfly who knew how to get him into doors to be a great professor and to continue his work and to teach and put himself in a position in political positions to actually get to be this great person. Because you can do this work and then it kind of fizzles out. She literally put him indoors and in front of people who can get his work done and taken to the next level. When the school was against him, so no, she's not a genius in the sense of this science shit, but I'm a political, like a social genius. I'm gonna teach you who to get in front of. Let me show you. Your fucking school is not trying to fund your work. You trying to prove your work, and they're not trying to give you the money so you can go take pictures of this eclipse and blah 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 blah. Take pictures proving your work. They don't want to fund it. They don't want to give you the money. You got people, snakes in the fucking group that's talking shit about you because you a Jew dude. All right, cool. Well, let me bring you over here to this nigga who creates weapons that got money. and she brought him, and he awkward because he's a fucking nerd. He's a science nerd, so he don't really got the gift of gab. He don't really got a mouthpiece because he's a nerd. He's not a social butterfly. He's a fucking nerd. Weird looking nerd. And so she brings him to this dude at this party, and she puts him in front of it, and he's like flubbing. Like he's not even, he don't got the gift of gab to kind of convince somebody, and he don't have the influencer in him to try to influence. So she tips, and as soon as she walks in the room and see what's happening, she gets to talking and convincing him to help Einstein and fund the work. Like, don't you want to be a part of this work? Think about if we could put your name as one of the sponsors and that elevated this work to a whole new level. Don't you want to be that person? She's literally using her mouthpiece to convince him. And this ain't the first time. Throughout her whole time as his wife, she was like his fucking publicist. She was putting him in circles. She's the one who got him to be got him in the door at the university that he was end up being a part of, that led to him being this great ass fucking physicist in name and reputation. Then when they came to US and got accepted, she was the one when they coming off the while he's trying to be like this, he trying to make these political points that can kind of make him look bad. She cleaning it up. She answering questions for him in front of the news, in front of the press, all this kind of stuff, cleaning it up. She was like the social genius. Elsa was like, I'm about to show you how to play this game because first of all, I'm a divorcee and I got these kids and you got some stuff going on that I like and I can find security in you. So I'm gonna show you how to play this game because I know how to play it. I'm a woman. Y'all may have the power, but I can see how this power works, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Maleva was compatible intellectually, but not socially. Right? She was, she was disabled. She was a fucking nerd too. So she couldn't connect to the people like Elsa could. Elsa had the connection to the people because she just didn't have the science intellect, but she had the intellect to maneuver socially. So I thought that was beautiful. And the nuances, I think why I knew that it was written by women is because the nuances that they were sharing in their relationships were, it was too perfect. It was too on point. Only a woman could write that, I think. Because I haven't seen it done by a man. The small little nuances. Um Remember when Elsa was being nice to her at the party and she kind of came to her defense, and then the other wife snitched on Elsa. Like, man, she fucking your husband. She fucking your husband. And I know I've been in this situation. So, girl. And then what you call it was being disrespected by her daughters, Elsa. All that little nuances in that, and how there's a push and pull to be a lady, it's a push and pull to be um, to be like a feminist, to be like this person who is going after your dreams and not succumbing to the prison that is ladyhood. You feel what I'm saying? The prison that is um, just being like a homemaker. Because at this time, there wasn't any jobs. You feel what I'm saying? There wasn't any jobs for women. You either had to be a secretary or a homemaker. And even this time, I don't really think it was secretaries like that. I remember like, in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it was like secretaryship. But before this, all you could do is be a homemaker. You couldn't really, there weren't careers that you can get into. And that's what Maleva was like. I want my career. What about what I want to do? What about we could be a partnership? But this is not. And that's what's her frustration. This is not a partnership. You told me that we were going to be a family and be partners in this work, and it's turning into I'm sitting at home taking care of babies, and you are becoming this Nobel Prize winner. And I know I done sat up all night and helped you with your work. You feel what I'm saying? And so that was the battle. I really felt for her. When I see movies like this or see shows like this that kind of depict this, it really fucks with me because you are in a situation, you are in a situation where you like socially things have not changed. And I can only imagine um like slavery, like when the shit we take for granted now, the shit we take for granted and don't even have a clue of that was the way of life back then. Like, you know, when it was just the norm for a white person is coming down the street and you gotta get out the way. Like you have to get out the way. Like I can't imagine living in a world like that. I just walk down the street freely. I do. And so I'm not thinking about the race of the person and if I need to get off the road so they can walk. I'm not thinking about that. Where that is the norm and customary. The job women had positioned them to marry quickly and become a housewife. No chance of advancement in the career because your advancement was a marriage. That was right. You didn't need to advance because it was up to your husband to take care of you. You didn't really need a career. Even when we think about, I don't know if y'all watch The Crown, but when we think about The Crown, it also is a new series where it talks about Queen and her sister, um, Anne, Margaret. Yeah. So in that situation, when they were younger, because she like 99, she old. Um, when they were younger, they knew Queen Elizabeth was going to be the queen. Once that dude abrogated the throne and it went to her father, then they knew that she was going to be the queen, right? So her sister, when they were trying to educate her, they educated Elizabeth in like amazing shit. Not necessarily. There were some things that she didn't need to know that they were kind of pushing her out from. But Margaret, they didn't even teach Margaret shit. They were like, you need to know how to do this girly stuff because you're not going to be the queen. You are going to just marry some kind of duke or something and be this princess and be this be this person. And that's another thing, Sherry. That is a great call out because a lot of people, because we take certain things, certain freedoms for granted, people say, well, I wouldn't have did this or I wouldn't have did that. You say that now because you've been taught to buck up against the system in a certain kind of way. But if your mama, from the time you came out of the womb, said, you do not disrespect the white people, or you do not, or this is how girls are supposed to act in a certain kind of subservient way. No, you can't do that. That's not, look at what his mama was doing to her girls. Think about all the mothers in this film that were trying to set their daughters up for success. When we talk about, remember the girl that they were trying to get Einstein to be with before he married Maleva, that the girl with the blonde hair, that he kind of broke her heart by telling her that I'm not going to marry you, I'm going to pick somebody else or whatever. Like they were literally counting on Einstein to marry her. Like this was the culture to get my daughter. Look at Bridgerton. Like we got to put her out here because her only value is what kind of husband she can connect our family with. Get her prepared to be the lady of the house. Get her prepared to be this, this debutante. And so as we know now, even our era, I turned 40 this year. And think about what we thought in the 80s. Like I remember conversations that were happening in the 80s that would feel really, really antiquated if we had it right now. And it's been a slow incremental change. It's like a slow change. So, and it's people daring to buck up against that system. Most people are not daring enough to buck up against that system. Most people go with the flow and try to work, like go with the grain to go with the system. Look at, black folks was like, oh, y'all really raising up the white people. Y'all doing all that marching and y'all know it was black folks that was like that. Why are y'all doing this? Getting the white folks mad at us. I remember, God, his name misses me. There was this black dude who shot, it's like a civil rights fact. I can't remember exactly what happened, but basically there was a shootout, a standoff. They were looking for, the white people was looking for him, and honey, he had his guns, and he was like, look, if they find me, I'm blowing heads off. That's it. I'm blowing their heads off, and that's what it is. And so they end up killing him, but he ended up killing and injuring some of them. It was a whole little standoff. And in that situation, some of the black people in the town was like, damn, now you got the whole white people mad at us because, you done went and bucked up against the white people. So now it's going to be harming us when you could have just been cool. But they already was wearing out his store or something like that. They were doing something to him. And that turned him into this thing. And so for me, that's what I mean. Most people are going to be trying to just, oh no, don't run away. They're going to cut your feet off. They're going to whoop you. No. And it's not about them being weak, because I don't think that that's a certain weakness. That is their sense of survival. It's like, yo, we're trying to stay alive. We're not trying to get hung. We're not trying to get beat. This is the rules of the circumstances that we are in. And we just trying to raise our kids. We don't want them to sell us off. We want to stay with the people that we know. And if going along with the rules keeps us happy and not being wore out, I don't think that's necessarily weak. I just think that that's their means of survival. And a lot of women, you know, throughout time, they also had to deal with that. I was just talking in the context of slavery, but in the context of women, we hear stories from Tina Turner. We just talked about Tina Turner. When we hear about Maria Antoinette, when we hear about the bowling girls, when we hear about you know, that African queen that used to dress like a boy. I can't say their names. When we hear about Harriet Tubman, when we hear about Shirley Chisholm, they are just trying to buck up a system that is just, they're going with what power do I have in this situation? Do I need to use my pussy power? I mean, there's this show that I really, really love called Harlot on Hulu. Really, really love it because it you know, it's funny. It's not funny. It's a drama. It's good moments in it. A lot of female leads. And it's about this lady that runs a whole house with her daughters. And one of the daughters, Charlotte, I think her name is Charlotte. She's one of like the prettiest things in the city, but she a hoe. And so how can you use your pussy power to get you some power and pull? And this power could be behind the scenes because one of the ladies that taught her how to run a whole house runs a more upscale whole house. And she got more power and pull in the political realm. You see what I'm saying? Like, the power doesn't always necessarily need to be out and up front, but sometimes it is. And so this is their way of figuring out. It's dueling hoe houses. Yes, right. You know, there's a low scale hoe house and an upscale. If y'all watch Harlot, let me know because it's really, really good. I like it. I hate it. Didn't it get canceled? After, I don't know, how many seasons was it? Deja? I think it was like 2 or 3 seasons. But it was good. It was good to me. But it's letting you know this is the rules of the game. Like we're not, no women's movement has happened yet. No, and even I hate to, I ain't gonna say that, but even like during the antebellum, during Reconstruction, think about it. You a white woman, and you've been raised, generation out of generation, was raised for you to be the Christian, pure house, the mistress of this house. You don't do any kind of work. All you do is host events, and you got slaves to be able, if you got money, not if you're poor, but even if you're poor, you're trying to get to this level because this is the elite. This is the middle class. This is the rich middle class, and high. The more slaves, the more rich you are. Da, 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 da. So you still envy this, and you want to get there. So you're trying to buy land to get to the point where you can hire some slaves and own slaves, and you know that's these black bodies are the key to your economic wealth. So just like right now, just like we think about, I know me growing up, it was, you got to get you out, you got to buy you some houses, you know, you got to get you some land. That's the key to economic advancement. You buy a house, flip it, sell it, or, you know, property has been something that people have always said, this is how you build wealth. Get you some property that brings you some residual income, blah, 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 blah. In this time, black bodies was that. Ooh, I can start me off with buying me 2. I got some land now. Let me buy me 5 slaves. Then I expand, buy a little bit more acres. And then I can till this land, make some more money, buy me 10 slaves. They were like investments. Like if you buying a house, if you buying a car, you know, these was fucking like horses. That's what it was. And so for a white woman coming up in that time, and then going into Reconstruction where I don't have access to these slaves and I got to clean my own house. I got to take care of my own babies. Look at that's the level of lazy. I don't even want to say lazy. Yeah, it was lazy. That's the level of power that they had. I don't even got to nurse my own fucking babies. I'm going to have my slave nurse them. That's the level of laziness and level of power and level of I don't do shit that they were on. I have them, and then my slaves nurse them and take care of them. Woo. That's just a whole different level of lazy. I think the civil rights. So coming into my point was they come into Reconstruction and they got to deal with a whole new culture of advancement. No longer are they just this pristine mistress sitting up in the house. They got to do some fucking work. They got to do some work. And so what kind of nuances does this live to? A level of I don't care about no one but me because I don't have to, right? I think the civil rights story you are referred to was the People's Grocery Lynching in Memphis. This guy was Thomas Moss. Very interesting story. Please look it up if you haven't. That doesn't sound familiar, but it could be. I don't think it was that, but a lot of shit happened like this all the time, so that could be. But that I don't think it's Thomas Moss. I don't think that's the one I'm talking about. I want to say this dude name was Richard something. Richard Wright. I can't remember. I don't know. I'll next time we do a show, I'll have the information. But that happened a bunch of times. So it's tons of similar stories. We had the civil rights lady that I posted her on Marsha's Plate on our Instagram during Black History Month that fought the court system and forced them to call her Miss. Forced the judge. Because he tried to charge her with contempt because she wouldn't respond to him. Because he wouldn't call her Miss like a normal human being in the court. And even that little small thing that leads to some semblance of respect and dignity. And so these little changes it's slow, but it's a grind up because people are not trying to buck the system. Most people, even the people who are oppressed, are not trying, because I think we more comfortable when we don't have the resistance. You're naturally gonna go the way that gives you the least resistance. But I think because of that, it makes progress and change slower. They resort to their pussy power. Find a man with a coin, marry him, and have tons of kids. Yes. And the privilege of that pussy power didn't always transfer to other races. Sometimes it did. That's one of the beautiful thing about that movie called 12 Years a Slave I really like. Because me being a trans woman who knows, I feel like trans folks, when it's particularly sex working trans folks, there's we're exposed to a layer of society, not just trans folk, but particularly I say trans folk because it's seen as wrong in a different kind of way than like say a regular cis woman stripper. Her being a prostitute it may seem like not respectable, but it's not seen as wrong because you're having sex with men and you're supposed to have sex with men. Like it's almost like but if you're an escort and you're a tranny, it's like fucking with you is wrong on all the levels. Like you finding out some married man is sleeping with a sex worker, That's not. That's like it's like, oh my God, you if it's like a regular married man, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that happens. But if you find out he's sleeping with a trans woman, then it's like, what? What? It's a whole different level of shock. So I think because of where we are positioned in the culture, we have access to it, like kind of beyond the veil, like behind the mask. We know what people are doing behind closed doors. We're not like somebody who is believing people from face value. I know this dude that you think is, rest in peace DMX, that look like DMX, thug, rough rider, rough and hood nigga, blah 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 blah. I done had hood niggas like this. I know to the layman eye, they gonna be like, oh, he's straight. He don't mess around. I would be able to tell because you too busy thinking that messing around means that you're gonna be like, hey, Miss Steen, da 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 da. But from a young age, I feel like I had, just as a queer boy, I had access to beyond the veil, beyond the mask. Like I knew how people got down behind closed doors. And I know that in slavery time, because it was seen as, sleeping with your slaves, even though it was happening, socially it wasn't, it was seen as dirty. Of course they were doing it, of course, on the low, but socially they like, ooh, no, that's like sleeping with an animal. They're animals. They were beneath me. Even mistress papers, like when you see journals and books and white mistresses from this era, it was seen as you're messing with the slaves. It was seen as something negative, even though they were secretly doing it. So because it was something on the low in like in secret done, in a clandestine way, I know that somebody like in 12 Years a Slave, somebody who my wife done died, this is my favorite slave, I don't want her to go nowhere. Let me put her up in the house and fall in love with her. Because the nuance is people fall in love with people. And so it may be problematic, but my wife is dead. I'm not going to remarry. And I can just keep my slave. And that slave, loving the comfort that comes with fucking this white man, she uses that opportunity. It may not be the norm, but it happens. I was like, I believe that nuance happened. And when I saw it on screen, I was like, I've never seen anybody depict it, because I usually depict it like Pansy was, Lupita Nyong'o's character, that she was being raped, and but this one gives a little nuance because I can see somebody. There had to be somebody who said, I'm gonna make this work for me. I ain't got no power, but I'm putting it on this nigga, and he's giving me whatever I want. And so I'm gonna make it work. It was interesting how Einstein's dad was a bourgeois businessman in public, but Einstein's mother was the one with money and funding her husband's failing business, stunts, and charades. Right, right. You are so right. That is a good call out. You are totally right. That is a good call out because that's what it was. But if she would have stepped up, that's the thing about it. This is how at that time, but even now in a certain level, because we saw it with Michelle Obama and Barack. If she would have put it out that she was the money behind the husband and it wasn't being secret, if she was the money and she was the leader, it actually would have made her household look less valuable because the man wasn't the lead. Do you see what I'm saying? Just the fact that even though it's the truth, but it would make how culture was working back then, it would make him look weaker and not get him the kind of elbow rubbing that he would need to be successful in his business. So keeping that secret and behind closed doors kept up the facade of the man is a leader of the home. And the same thing like when the sacrificing, like Michelle in her book Becoming, and her talking about like, yo, Barack, with this, he wasn't making no money at one point. I was the breadwinner. I was the one who was doing the thing. And then once he started, this political stuff, it flipped. But prior to that, I was the breadwinner and he was trying to grow. And so I was sacrificing and I had to small myself, like to shrink myself for him to become this thing. And and even during the campaign, they were saying shit like, she wears the pants. Does she wear the pants? And da 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 da. Your mind will adjust to anything when it's life or death. I believe that all humans have the ability to adapt. The ones who do, yeah, I don't think, yeah, at some level, but some level, it's not. You can't deal with it. That's when you have the people like Kunta Kinte, the people like Matt Turner. You adapt for so long, but then you can't deal with it. But they get rid of those people fast. Those are the ones they kill. Because not only do you buck up the system yourself, you inspire other motherfuckers to buck up the system too. My grandfather left the South to survive. He was in Mississippi. His friend was lynched and left for Nebraska. Good for your grandfather. Thanks for your grandfather because you wouldn't be here if you didn't make that decision. And that's about being strong. A lot of people, when I was younger, this is when I was younger, I used to be like, y'all motherfuckers is weak. Y'all motherfuckers was weak. Y'all let them come over to fucking Africa and snatch us. This is how my young mind was thinking. I was like, y'all motherfuckers let them come over to Africa and snatch us. Y'all didn't go to war with these motherfuckers. Y'all didn't try to come and get us. Y'all just let the motherfucking shit ride. Like, what? Like, this shit is whack. Y'all weak as hell. Like, I used to think that this shit was weak. And I was like, yeah. Y'all let them do this shit. And then even the slavery stuff. But then when I think about, you free, and then generations, they are training you through violence to be a certain way. So you're training the kids, the sons, the daughters on how to act in this way. Even if the first motherfuckers that came over here were feisty and one like jumping off the boats, wanting to fight, wanting to, go nuts, they're gonna kill them. You want to stay alive? It's gonna be the ones that are meek, and then it sounds horrible, but it's kind of like people do dogs, like breeds of dogs. How they get certain breeds with certain temperaments and certain looks is because they actually, they pick certain ones to breed. It ain't to me, I don't think it's no coincidence that we fucking that we look like we do in America when it comes to our body types and how we look. How, like, you can look at us and see the difference. Like, I can, not all the time, but a lot of times I can tell when this is a African face and just like a regular, you know, African instead of like a American face, an African American face. Like it's sometimes it's not all the time, but a lot of times I can tell the body type, it's just different. And I think that, like dogs, that we were kind of bred in that kind of way. By them. Because think about how long it lasted. Mm. What did you think about um The one guy who played in Game of Thrones, the one guy that ended up being a Nazi, Brandon. What did you think about him? The one with that was anti that always showed his anti-Semitism. He was against the Jews, baby, and hated Einstein. Most time I can tell when someone is African as well. They look different than the typical Black American. Yes, it's kind of like when you look at East Africans, like when we look at Ethiopians or like Somalians, they be having some looks like that look alike. It's very similar. Like when you look at like that motherfucking Nipsey Hussle. Him, like they have a look. But yes, I think it was quite. I think the show, the series, so we can move on to something else. I think the series really showed us, you know, the state of womanhood and how far we actually have come since suffrage, you know, since all these first, second, third wave movements of feminism. And so I think it was a beautiful depiction of that. I think it was a great depiction of the failures of patriarchy and, how women were navigating it. He let the anti Semitism overshadow his genius, and low key, that gave Einstein more shine. Work your gifts and you will be rewarded. Yeah, I was like, dude, you are tripping. You are, he did not. But he had already been burned by that other dude. Remember the other dude he said that made the flash or whatever, did the x ray? Do you think Maleva was a glutton for punishment? He showed her so many times that he didn't see it for her, and she gave him chance after chance after chance. I don't know. In the beginning, you know what? I really don't. I don't. I think that he was a nerd. Oh, definitely. That was when I would have been. It's time to go. But I think prior to that, he didn't know. I think some dudes are weak, particularly like nerdy ass niggas. I think no, I ain't gonna say that. But I think that he I don't think it was super intentional. I think he was just going with the flow. They were already against him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because of what he was doing, trying to be out the box, they were already against him. If I bring this whole little feminist idea, I want to bring my wife and put her on it too. And remember, his teacher already was against her. The same teacher that at first that was praising him, that got him into the school, but was against her being there. Remember him? So I gotta bring my shit. Oh, and her. I think that he was. I think he was scared in that sense. Scared of what it could do. His weakness and aloofness is what would have made me leave, whether it was intentional or not. Even if you loved him. And then she was set up for that kind of love, though, right? Just think about it. She's growing up with this kind of ailment, being teased. Nobody ever probably looked at her in that kind of way. And then you got this dude who is a genius in his right that is loving your mind when previously you didn't have. So I think her circumstances set her up to fall in love like that. Last thing before we change the subject, there was a PBS series on the Black church, and a lot of Black women were the pillars of the church and were sidelined by the pastor. Same system. Yes, absolutely the same system. Even when we think about The crazy part, when we think about Maddie Moss Clark, if we think about her setting the framework of making music is a part of the entertainment of church. If you're not into the word, which most motherfuckers, they don't be into the word for real, for real. You might like the but even the word, when a preacher is not boring, particularly black preachers, the ones that are kind of animated and really know how to say what they need to say in a way that's entertaining, they're gonna get people to stay at their church. You add some people who can sing, that choir, that can move you and got the anointing. You got that soloist that you always want to hear sing, especially if you got a few of them. Like this is like a circus. This is like we have the trapeze act that is walking across the tightrope. We got the little dude with the hat that trains the elephants. That all this type of stuff. We got the usher board coming in doing their little rock, all dressed in uniforms. Hosanna, blessed be. The church is a performance and it's an entertaining space. And so when we think about Maddie Moss Clark and her turning her daughters into an act that was just not in the church, there is a business of this. We are actually bringing people to your church. When we think about Clarence, she's a woman that's doing this. We already had people like Clarence Franklin. We showed that, and they showed that in the and Clara what's the Clara Ward. Clara Ward, who was, like Aretha Franklin's mentor, and ended up marrying her father. And they had turned their singing into, just like we go see, just like Tina Turner and all these acts was traveling around the country. It was church acts too. It was acts and singers, Mahalia Jackson, that were getting paid to travel to these churches, and they would be getting a cut of the tithes because, I'm coming to see Mahalia at this church. And they bring the offering plate and they have her rate. Just like a drag queen going to different fucking gay bars, drag bars, getting her rate. Oh, if you want me to come to your church, honey, this is how much I need from them plates, from them tithes. This is how much I need. Or I can stay at my own church because I'm already getting the coin from them. Even, Franklin, Aretha's father, using his daughter as this thing. Y'all want to hear my daughter sing? She's the best singer in the world. Come on over. These were acts. And Maddie Moss was one of the first women to be able to do it and turn the choir into a thing. Turn the choir into a 3-part, harmonizing thing. It's just not one person. But I got my daughters. So I got this whole mechanism of business and draw to the circus of church. But they didn't want her to get that much power. You are the minister of music of the whole culture church shit. But look at now. Now her daughter, Karen, her son-in-law, because of the power and pull that she created, her legacy. Now her husband, Karen Clark's husband, I don't know if y'all follow Kojic business. I was raised in the Kojic church, so I'm just addicted to Kojic business. Now Karen Clark Shear's husband is the presiding pastor over all Kojic people. And was just voted in like about a couple of weeks ago. So now she's the first lady of all first ladies, Karen Clark Shear. Maddie Moss's daughter. So anything that would have happened back in the day, remember they were trying to railroad her, the board, the board of directors of the Kojic people, the presiding bishops. If that would have happened today, somebody like her was coming up today, she wouldn't have to deal with what Maddie Moss had to deal with. So yeah, absolutely, definitely. Um, and you know, women bringing in the money, working long hours for free, keeping the church cute. They're known for being pillars of the black church and being kind of thrown away while the men are put up on the pedestal. I haven't watched it. I wanted to watch it. I'll probably watch it. But I'm watching them. The series called Them that just came out today. I'm gonna watch that. But I have to let me write that down. But I'm going out of town. I'm going to I told you I'm going out of the country on Sunday. And so I'll probably just I ain't watching shit out of town. I'm gonna be on a beach getting my massages and facials, bitch. That's what I'm gonna be doing. But PBS, the Black Church, docu series. I gotta write it down so I don't forget. PBS. All right, it is 1:11. Here's the link to the doc. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me click it so I can have it up. Hmm. So what else y'all want to talk about? Y'all want to talk about what has been going on? So yes, Secret Society. We already talked about that. That ain't shit. It's a movie by a cis woman that is trash. It's about trans women, but she didn't hire trans women to have it. It sucks. It's garbage. She's been going on this tour trying to explain it, and the trans girls are reading the shit about her, reading the shit out of her. But I do have tea. Well, I don't know. That's not tea. That's not tea. That's relevant. Y'all would have to for the tea that I was about to just tell. Would y'all would have to be in community to know what I'm talking about. Anyway, what do y'all want to talk about today? Off the cuff. Mm-hmm. Y'all have one of these? I don't know if it works, but it feels good. It feels good, but I don't know what it does. And you take the little part, you got the big part, and you take the little part around your eyes to reduce puffiness when it's cold. Talk about the Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Versus. Y'all letting Ron get it. Yeah, I put mine in the freezer, and when it's not freezer in the refrigerator, and when it's cold, it really feels good. Like after I put after I put my your serums and stuff on your face. Oh, and this too. I don't know why is it not zooming in so y'all can see. There, it have all these little needles on it, and so when you put your serums and you roll these little needles on your face, ooh, come on, all right. You roll these little needles on your face. I don't know, something happens. Something happens. Yeah, microderm. Needle roller. I love it. So I thought Ronald Isley was so cute with that silver fox beard. He was looking so sexy when he had his little the little chinchilla fur jacket and that hat. I said, "Come on, Ron, you look cute." The fact that people didn't even know that that was Ron, because he's always been ugly to me, but he did look cute with that silver fox beard, baby. I call any older man with gray hair, silver foxes. Ah, I loved it. I love it. Um, what did I think? Only thing I hated that Steve was there. I wanted Steve to go. I didn't want Steve to be there. He is 79 with a 14-year-old. Yeah, that's none of my business, though. If you got the money to take care of him, go for it. That part of it, I don't care. Mm. But I didn't like Steve there. He was talking too damn much. He was making everything about him. I don't like it when I hope the host thing doesn't happen again. I don't like the host thing. I want it to be the artists talking to each other, talking about the song, how the song came about. How did it feel? This is your first hit. How how did this feel? Like I would have loved to hear Ronald talk about because you're contagious. Touch me, baby. Give me what you got. That was a comeback for him. They hadn't had hits in a minute. And so that moment in time, that was like a comeback. This old school, you know, this old school act, Isley Brothers, now have this new hit in the 90s. Was it 90s or 2000? I can't remember when that came out. But this new hit. And so how did that feel? Tell me about that. Tell me about how that came about. I don't want to hear about R. Kelly, but but how did it feel being back up on the charts after not being there for so long? It was the Steve Harvey show on Versus. Yes, I hated that shit. Shut up. And then when we start complaining about it and they told him to shut up, then he started giving us that fucking stupid speech. This is what grown folks do. We talk. We didn't know. This is why we didn't want you. Because the reason why they are greats is because their music is timeless. I didn't grow up in the 70s, bitch. I wasn't alive then. I didn't grow up in the 60s. I wasn't alive then. But I listened to motherfucking Isley Brothers. I listened to that Earth, Wind, and Fire. That still was my motherfucking shit. Those songs are timeless. So don't sit in this fucking space and talk to us like we are too young to understand. We too young to understand what was going on when it first came out, but we're not too young to appreciate this music. They said they had Steve Harvey. Oh. Now no. I'm gonna have to call you later. What? They didn't want to talk about R. Kelly. Why would they have to talk about R. Kelly if they're just hosting? But they didn't have to talk about it. Yes, I do believe that. The resurgence of his career, I can see him believing that. I can see, yeah, he did. Yes. I can totally believe that. But that don't mean you don't see Felicia Rashad. But then that's when they could have said, like, look, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend you talking about R. Kelly. This is a different time, bruh. And And also, it doesn't mean you can't talk about him. Like, we know this existed. And you can say that. I don't want you to dwell on it. You get what I'm saying? Like, move along. Yeah, it was produced by R. Kelly. He hit me up. Talk about the music. Talk about the song. You don't need to talk about, oh, R. Kelly's a genius and da 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 da. Like, you don't have to go into all of it. Like, and that's just one song. If I was a person listening, I could have dealt with that one song from R. Kelly. I could wear it out. I could understand it, how it came about. What? You talk about from the Contagious era. Yes, yes, from that era. But they got music. They got music that he didn't write. And so they could have been talking about so many things, and them bringing up that, discussing that era, I don't think that would have been an issue in regards to him. They could have talked about so many things. I don't think Steve Harvey eliminated that problem in a good way, if that's what they were thinking. The Isley were the only artists who have had hits in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 legends. Earth, Wind, and Fire musically is everything, though. Yeah, the thing that I noticed the most, just comparing those artists, comparing Earth, Wind, and Fire and Isley Brothers, what I noticed the most was Earth, Wind, and Fire, their harmonies and arrangements were musical masterpieces. Ron, the Isleys, their songs usually were just a vibe. Like they had a cut ass fucking melody that you can kind of run with. No problem. That you can kind of run with. Yeah, listening to it, I was listening like, oh my god, like the harmonies, the music arrangements, the background vocals that Earth, Wind, and Fire had. They you can hear it, like you can see even when they was getting up trying to attempting to perform it, and you saw them doing different parts of the background and just different stuff like that. That was good. Where Ron and them, they just had really catchy melodies, like Black Hippie Soul, Black Hippie Soul, Black Hippie Soul. Okay, I can run with that. I don't know. Something feels. Were they hippie? Oh yeah, I guess they. I guess it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I love it. And then Ron, theirs was like, R&B. Who's that lady? Who's that lady? Very simple, catchy. What's the one? Let me see. What's the one? Choosing lover as an attitude. Just so glad you chose me, baby, baby. It's just catchy. Earth, Wind, and Fire literally have a whole song with no lyrics, just vocals harmonizing in melody. Who does that? Honey, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Then Who else? Then yeah, I love when people do shit you don't expect. That's why one of my favorite songs, this that they don't got nothing to do with it, but this is one of my favorite songs on the Waiting to Excel soundtrack is Shantae Moore's Where You Wait, Child, so, wait, child, so, wait, child, wait, because it wasn't any words, it was just that. And I was like, what the fuck was Babyface thinking that said, fuck this? We just about to let her do it. Just sing this with just no lyrics, just fucking. Forget about it. Putting down, putting down. Forget about it. I love that song because it doesn't have any lyrics. She's not saying anything. It's no lyrics. Babyface needed one more song and had no more time, baby. But it was beautiful. That is one of my favorite songs on that album. And no words, just sing it. Just phrases. I love. What song was the one on Heat? Tony Braxton Heat album. What song was it? I love the Heat album. It um I remember she did have one. Um what was the name of it? Yeah, the art of love making. Yes, I love that one. Yes, 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 yes. I loved it. Yes. I used to think she was speaking another language. Yeah, I loved it. Well, luckily for me, I come up in the time where we had leaflets in the CDs and they had the lyrics and who wrote it and the background singers, everything. I hate that they don't do that no more. That was a great experience for me when I was younger. Seeing who wrote it, seeing who did the background, and be like, I knew that was them. Like, cause you can hear, um, like what one thing I love is when I can hear something, but I just don't have proof of it, but I hear it because I have an ear like that sometimes. Sometimes. So like, what's that song? Like butterflies. Shaka Khan. Like hot butterflies. The champion. Hot Pavilion. Would a baby come like butterflies? Like hot butterflies. That background, I can hear before I knew it. I could hear Luther Vandross doing background vocals, and I didn't know it until I read the insert that it was Luther Vandross doing the background vocals for her on that song on Hot Hot Papillion. What's it called? Hot Butterflies. Damn, why I still got a trunk full of CDs? Oh my god, that's hell of out of me. Age the hell out of me. The Shantae Moore song is the Black Pageant Evening Gown competition song. Yes. That's like No Struggle TLC. I could always hear Teeny and Candy in the chorus. My mom listened to Escape faithfully, so I knew that their voices. But I didn't have the proof until years later. Yep. Luther touched a lot of legends, productions, Aretha, Whitney, Shaka. Yeah. Yeah, I just learned, I didn't know this. I think we talked about this a while ago, but I just learned that Whitney actually did the background for I'm Every Woman for Shaka Khan's original version. I knew she had done, a remake of it and did her version, but I didn't know that Whitney at a young age literally did the backgrounds to Shaka's song for her on the original version. I didn't know that. I was like, what? Yeah, Whitney had done that. I didn't know that. What other thing was some great background work? Um, Something new that kind of gagged me. Um, Shantae Moore singing the Soul Train intro. Shantae Moore sings the Soul Train intro. Um, um, who else? Shantae Moore sings the Soul Train intro. What other one? Oh, and then yeah, it's Sissy, Whitney, and some other people. But it was crazy that it was a full circle moment because I just thought she just did the cover. I didn't know she had anything to do with the past. Um, that motherfucking Kelly Price. They, I don't, I think Mariah is a great writer, but people sleep on what Kelly Price added to Mariah's vision, like as far as her writing too. She got Mariah's earlier albums. Kelly got a lot of honey writing credits on her earlier albums, and you can hear Kelly in the background of all her songs. Just think golden cause I need your love more. Someday, someday, hey, hey. Escape and SWV is the next verses. I can't wait. I love it. I just think it's going to be fire hits. I don't think anything is going to top Earth, Wind, and Isley, though. I really think this one is going to top it. I really do. Because it's going to give that same Brandy vibe. It's going to get that Brandy Monica vibe. It's going to bring those 90s kids, honey, anybody who grew up in the 90s, it's gonna give you that same vibe of Brandy and Monica, except it's gonna be a group without the scandal behind it. Except it's gonna be a group. But as far as people watching, anybody who I have seen talk about that, talk about versus that Brandy and Monica, that the potential of Escape and SWV is like, oh, we gonna be there. I ain't heard nobody like But I wonder if they get another host. But then how do y'all feel about them selling it to fuck the white people, y'all? They sold it to Thriller. I don't know. I just feel quite annoyed by Like, why can't we keep stuff to ourselves just on principle? I know you're trying to make money and it done turned into this thing, so you sold it for a lot of money. But man, why can't we keep ownership of stuff? Because now we gonna have they about to bring some white people in and do a white people versus. It's gonna be Madonna and it's just gonna be. It's not gonna be black no more. I don't know. It just annoys me. I do not want white people on verses. It just feels so authentic. It feels fubu as fuck. They already was talking about doing a Madonna and Janet. Not that I think that that would happen, but I'm like, no. I actually think what would be nasty if you want to keep it gutter. Yeah, they sold it to Thriller. They don't even own it no more. What I people don't just hear me out though. That's what I'm talking about. This is for us about us. I wouldn't mind a Mariah and Janet versus. Now, I know it's about hits, and Mariah got that's mother hits. Ain't nobody fucking with Mariah for the hits. But I feel like for a vibe set, like a vibe, like a back and forth vibe with their songs, that's gonna give you hits, but different types of vibes in their hits. I feel like a Janet and Mariah versus would snatch. Not Madonna and Cindy Lauper. Right. They gonna give all of that. I think a Mariah and Janet. Think about all of Janet's catalog and all of Mariah's catalog. And I'm not talking, I know Mariah got more hits than Janet. Yes, I know that. But Janet got fucking hits. And so them going back and forth with their hit songs from Control, Janet, Rhythm Nation, Velvet Rope. What was the next one? I can't remember. But even some Demita Joes. I want Mary and Tony. I want Mary and Tony. Princess and Hood Girl. Yeah, I could fuck with a Jan. I just feel like I'm hearing. Think about If coming on, and then Dream Lover. Oh, and then um Control coming on, and then Emotions, and then what's the slow song? What's the slow song from the '80s that from Janet? Is it about her being a virgin or not ready or something? God, what is that song? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The video is black and white. Destiny Child did it, like did a live version of it. What is that slow song? Man, I hate when I think. Not funny how time flies. Yes, let's wait a while. That's what I'm thinking. Let's wait a while before, baby. Let's wait a while before we go too far. That's starting to play, and then Vision of Love, bitch. I could just see them going back and forth with cute ass numbers, and it won't be boring. Because if you just do Mariah and Mary, it's gonna be sad. Mary don't got too many fast bops from that's outside of 411 area. Her bops is sad, and then you add Mariah's. Her bops be sad too. You can't put them together. You need somebody like Janet who got some up tempo bops, and then the ballad queen Mariah. She gonna give you some ballads. That's gonna keep the energy up, man. Y'all gotta hear me out. Janet and Mariah is perfect. I'm selling y'all Janet and Mariah. I'm telling y'all, Janet and Mariah. And for the R&B set, honey, Mary and fucking Tony. For the alto set, for the low jazz, the deep voice queens. They could give us at least woman's gospel verses. Who would it be? Yolanda Adams and who else? Who would it be? Yolanda Adams and Karen? Yolanda Adams and Kim? You got to have Yolanda Adams. Who else? Who, but do they be having hits like that, child? I don't know. Yeah, I guess they do. Yeah, you can't. If we talk about hits, can't nobody fuck with fucking Mariah. Mariah is she holds the female record, so can't nobody fuck with Mariah on no hits. But as far as what would be a vibe that won't put me to sleep, child, because all of Mariah shit, even though it's some cute song, that shit is ballad. She ballad queen, sad. You know, it's. Mm-mm. I can't see her. That vibe is not gonna be hot with Mariah with Mary. Mm-mm. Clark sister versus Pay sister. Oh, I will watch that. I don't know if the Pay sister guys hits, but I will still watch it. Mm. I would do if I was them, I would do a Clark sisters by themselves, like motherfucking Clark sisters and friends, like D'Angelo did. Clark sisters and friends, and then bring all the women of gospel on. Kim, Yolanda. That's what I do. Clark sisters and friends. That would be hot. You know all the hits. Yeah, we got an encyclopedia of the hits in our brains because we have a eclectic musical taste. Well, you more so than me because some of them the shit you listen to, I'll be like, um, Mariah versus Mary equals boring as fuck. Boring down boots. It should be Tony and Mary. If we're gonna get a slow R&B set, it should be Tony and Mary because at least their R&B set is dynamic to me. And you know they both gonna be beat. You know Tony is gonna be beat. You know Mary is gonna be beat. I feel like a Tony Braxton and Mariah and Mary's theme, their vibe, like they you know they're divas of course, but they got a connection to the hood to me. I feel like they can be black girls on there. Tony and Mary is what will put me to sleep. No, think about. I want you to think about the vibe that Mary got. Mary gonna get up and give you that motherfucking dance. She gonna be giving you, you know, she gonna get up and do some shit. Mariah ain't gonna get up and dance. She gonna sit there and look with the spotlight beaming on her with her hair curled and cute. Janet, I'm thinking about sonically, Janet and Mariah works better because they can. You gonna go back and forth. But Janet ain't gonna get up and dance. Janet gonna be sitting there being her coy, little, shy, cute self, smiling. Oh, you know how Janet is. Janet ain't a turn up girl, and Mariah ain't a turn up girl. But their music is gonna balance off, so you're not gonna be boring. But Mary and Tony, I think they will turn up if they are together, where their personality is gonna show. I think their personality is going to show. I think them together, their personalities will show. John P. Key versus James Moore, if Moore was still alive, would be a good gospel. Very good male vocals with hits. I would say Commission and the Winings. Babyface on a piano in the back with Tony Braxton. Look, that is also a good idea. You get a Tony Braxton and a motherfucking Mary. They can each bring friends to come help them along. Kurt Franklin versus I mean, who is doing it like Kurt Franklin? That actually would be a fire gospel set. A Kurt Franklin and a Clark sister. Or a Kurt Franklin and a Yolanda. But do Yolanda got hits like that? Yeah, gospel hits, yeah. But it's gonna be boring. But I feel like a Kurt Franklin and a Karen Clark, not a Karen, but a Clark sister. Unbreak My Heart. I'm cutting off the TV. John P. Key and Fred Hammond for me. I could do a Hezekiah Walker and Donald Lawrence. Yes, I could do that. Maybe John P. Key and Donald Lawrence. I can see that. I don't really like Fred Hammond. Only song I like with Fred Hammond is I can't even remember the name of it. Mary Appearance. Yes, I can see all of that. Ow. I hate that Luther ain't alive right now. I would love to see. I don't know. Kurt Franklin versus Ty Tribbett. I don't like Ty Tribbett, so I would be Kurt Franklin all day. Yolanda has the most commercial gospel hits ever. Oakland. Yeah, the most commercial, yes. Alone in a room with me and you. I'm so lost. I don't know what to do. What if I choose the wrong thing to do? I'm so afraid of disappointing you. I need to talk to you. Fred Hammond has always been boring to me, yes. I ask you for your guidance, especially today. When my world is so cloudy, guide me until I'm sure I open up my heart. Fred Hammond was all sing along. What? Right. You know, they were trying to excommunicate her cause. They played it secularly. Ain't y'all supposed to go out into the highways and hedgeways? Child. Honey, they always played them games. Honey, Clark sisters paved the way for them to be a little bit more secular. And honey, Kurt Franklin came and said hiya, and then Yolanda said, "Okay, they done made the way plain and clear." The highways and byways. Yeah. Show me how to do things your way. Oh man. Want you. So what do y'all want to talk? I'm not going to be here next week. So what do y'all want to talk about the week after that? I'm going to be gone. So do y'all have something that y'all want to talk about on Friday, the 23rd? The 23rd, darlings. We should do a karaoke live. Oh, y'all want to talk about them? Yeah, I was going to start watching it tonight. Is it a series or is it a movie? If it's a series, I'll just watch it over my little break as I'm chilling. Okay, I can do them. Yeah, I was going to start watching it tonight. Is it a series? Oh, good. So yeah, I'll start it tonight, and then by that Friday, the 23rd, we can talk about them. Talk about them. Talk about them. Yes. Well, all right, y'all. I just put an episode out. We talked about on Marsha's Plate on the podcast. We talked about Donnie McClurkin. We talked about Secret Society. We talked about Caitlyn Jenner running for governor, and we talked about Robina Ashty. I can't remember her last name. Passing away. So make sure y'all check that episode out. Me and Mia and Z. If you are on our Patreon, I am going to have an interview with an author that I'll be posting probably tomorrow, and it will be out, but then I will be putting it on when I come back. I'll be putting it on the regular channel for y'all to watch it, but the patrons will get it early because it's a great interview. And then probably on the 22nd. And then I have an interview with an Asian trans man where we talk about, what's going on with the Asian folks. That's going to be good. What else do I got coming up? Of course, still raising funds for my my art initiative, trying to get that going. All those links is down in the bottom. If you want to check it out and support, do that. And I will see y'all not next week because I'll be out of town, but I will see y'all the week after that. Probably when I come back. So yeah, y'all have a wonderful night. Rest in peace to DMX. That was my hood, sexy teen fantasy. I loved it him. That was my bae. Yeah. Do not rest in peace to Prince Philip. You and your wife are the living, shining example of white privilege. One of the most extreme, symbolic, not even symbolic, actual representation of white privilege, unearned white privilege. Fuck you, Prince Philip. I hope Mother Princess Diana is laughing down at your ass. But yes, y'all have a good night and y'all be blessed.